They're Republicans, or are they sympathizers of domestic terrorists?
They basically are willing to do whatever the MAGA terrorist wing, as you put it, is demanding.
They are no longer a party. As I've said, they are a dime storefront for a terrorist organization called MAGA.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. We have to be honest, this week it wasn't very wacky with the Hamas terrorist attack on Israel. But the leftist media still found ways to be incredibly stupid and callous. Joy Behar from The View baselessly suggesting that the attack, of course, could be Trump's fault.
And so I would like to know who's behind this, because it's very interesting that now I would think Putin is sitting back and saying, wow, well, they're going to send their money to Israel. So maybe they won't send them to Ukraine. They won't send the money to Ukraine now. I'm very suspicious of this. And what did Donald Trump tell Putin when he was in Helsinki? These are questions that need to be answered in this country.
Joy will tell you who was behind it. It was Iran, Joy. Iran. You know that country that Joe Biden was willing to unfreeze $6 billion in assets for? That one. But to the leftist media, if Trump alone isn't responsible, then Republicans certainly have to be. Let's relive the moment that brain cells across the nation collectively screamed in agony as Sarah Haynes explains why the battle for House Speaker invited the Hamas attack.
And last week it was kind of amusing. We talked about it here. You know, you have the McCarthy's out, you know, Gates is enjoying 30 seconds in the sun, and Jim Jordan's your next best option, and everything was kind of funny. And then perspective slaps you in the face. Yeah. And on Saturday after that terrorist attack, I kind of looked at it and thought, you know, this division invites enemies in.
Yeah, it was the jockeying for House Speaker that encouraged this. To perpetuate stupidity, CBS Mornings did a profile on Hamas, hailing their sheer determination to eliminate Israel.
I've spoken with several Hamas leaders, and you know, they know their military capabilities are no match for Israel's enormous firepower. But what they lack in firepower, they make up for in ideology and sheer determination.
CBS hyping the sheer determination of Hamas, almost like they're a football team. But cheering on Hamas has been a long tradition of the leftist media.
Israel's strategy of self-defense is becoming less defensible in world opinion.
Israel may achieve military victory, but lose the battle of wider world opinion.
There's been these images I've seen of the Iron Dome system, right? So this missile defense system the U.S. partly funded. Can we get an Iron Dome for Gaza?
No, Chris Hayes, let's not facilitate that. Even some leftist MSNBC guests this week had it with the network's coddling of terrorists.
I am angry with the world that allowed the dehumanization of Israelis and sanitized the terrorism of Hamas. I must say, I love this show and I love this network, but I've got to ask, who is writing the scripts? Hamas? The people who did this, they are not fighters, Jonathan. They are not militants, and I'm looking right at the camera. They are terrorists.
Jonathan Greenblatt of the Anti-Defamation League points something out that's important about the network that he loves.
I love this show, and I love this network.
They don't report, they write scripts.
Who is writing the scripts?
Scripts that push an agenda, and it's worth recalling that the media have a long and disturbing record of dismissing Palestinian violence against the Jewish people.
Palestinians are looking around and thinking, who is going ever to protect us?
Hamas is seeing a wave of popularity after this latest round of violence, presenting itself as the sole defenders of the Palestinian people.
Farah never supported Hamas before, but does now.
Violence comes from despair.
In Gaza, many see these attacks as justified.
It's an agenda that even some on the left are now suddenly finding hard to swallow.
The people who did this, they are not fighters, Jonathan. They are not militants, and I'm looking right at the camera. They are terrorists.
Well, to the shock of absolutely no one who's paid attention to the leftist media, quickly this week there was a pivot away from the terror and slaughter by Hamas terrorists, and the media is now showing sympathy with Palestinians as Israeli forces begin carrying out a heavy response.
Because we've had a lot of statements from Americans, mostly Republicans this morning, but some Democrats who it's a bit boilerplate. It's Israel is our greatest ally, the only democracy in the Middle East, our strongest ally. We must stand with Israel. There's no nuance or recognition of anything that has been going on.
Apocalyptic scenes in Gaza this morning as whole districts are wiped out and entire neighborhoods destroyed by Israeli bombs.
Despite fierce international criticism, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also ordered a complete blockade of Gaza, meaning Israel won't allow food, fuel, or water in until Israeli abductees are returned home.
It's amazing that none of these journalists want to explain why none of the Arab countries in the region, including next door Egypt, want to take in the Palestinians. Why don't they explain that the people of Palestine voted in Hamas leadership, which doesn't believe an Israeli state existing?
Can we get an Iron Dome for Gaza?
These leftist media types twist themselves to avoid calling Hamas extremists or terrorists, which is really funny because they never have hesitated in using those terms before.
They're Republicans, or are they sympathizers of domestic terrorists?
They basically are willing to do whatever the MAGA terrorist wing, as you put it, is demanding.
They are no longer a party. As I've said, they are a dime store front for a terrorist organization called MAGA.
The media has thrown those words around so much that leftists struggle to use them properly when they're confronted with the real thing.
You know, for universities, Mike, that put out statements about every little wrong they believe that they see in the world, to not come out strongly against this stuff, I guess we shouldn't be surprised, but it's pretty shocking.
These are troubling times that we're all living through, Willie. And it's not just university campuses. It's not just Harvard University. It's in the halls of Congress. It's in various state houses throughout the country. And it's on street corners where people are talking about what happened this past weekend. There is a huge difference between the definition of militant and terrorist.
Maybe the leftist media needs to look in the mirror and ponder why their audience is so confused.
When you have someone like Kevin McCarthy and these domestic terrorists.
Fascist.
This is about MAGA extremists.
Fascist.
They are no longer a party. As I've said, they are a dime store front for a terrorist organization.
All right, before we go today, let's do something fun, something different. This is a game. Let's see if you can catch the word Democrat mentioned by the media while they're covering the indictment of Democratic Senator Bob Menendez.
New trouble tonight for a senator already facing serious federal charges. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez now facing new charges tonight. After pleading not guilty to fraud and accepting bribes, federal prosecutors are now accusing Menendez of acting as a foreign agent of Egypt. The new indictment tonight includes photos of Menendez and his wife dining with Egyptian officials. Prosecutors previously saying federal agents seized cash and gold bars from his home. Menendez denies any wrongdoing.
A new federal indictment against Senator Bob Menendez related to accusations he improperly provided sensitive government information to Egypt in exchange for cash and gold. Garrett Hake is following this for us. Garrett, what more do we know?
Lester, a federal grand jury tonight adding to the charges against Senator Menendez, indicting him for accepting bribes from Egypt and acting as an unregistered foreign agent of that country. Menendez pleaded not guilty last month to related corruption charges, and in a statement tonight, he says he has been loyal to only one country, the United States of America.
Did you catch it? Yeah, it's a trick question. For some reason, Menendez's party affiliation is never mentioned. It seems the media game is rigged. Only the leftists hiding the truth are allowed to win. I'm Eric Shiner from MRC-TV, reminding you a great way to be a winner is to visit the MRC homepage and click on the donate button. Visit MRCTV.org for the latest in information, entertainment, and videos. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos on the platforms that let you see us. And we'll be back next week with another look at the leftist media madness.